to the news at 10 on NTV 24. We are live in Abuja, and I am Nonini Eben Ame. Let's begin the bulletin with the headlines. President Bola Tinubu immortalizes former President Muhammadu Buhari, remains University of Maiduguri after him. Stakeholders optimistic ongoing reforms and investments in power sector will achieve 8,000 megawatts of electricity generation and distribution in the next 1 year. Federal government strengthening Nigeria's health workforce through strategic public and private partnerships. Minister of Works directs immediate closure of portion of Abuja Kefi flyover due to dislocation. Now to the news. Special activities in honor of the passing of Muhammadu Buhari got to the climax yesterday, as the Federal Executive Council FEC members held an expanded special session to mourn the immediate past president. President Bola Tinubu, who chaired the special session in memory of his late political ally, renamed the University of Maiduguri after the former president Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Ms. Vaidan Wahab reports.
At the end of an era, a once leader of the House would be celebrated by a new generation led by his successor, President Bola Tinubu. An unprecedented expansion session of the highest decision-making body of government came to order for the immediate past presidents who passed on. In addition to the leadership of the National Assembly, members of the immediate family of late President Muhammadu Buhari would equally witness the honor done to their late father. His political ally and successor, Bola Tinubu, never lacks words to describe the late leader on a day like this.
President Buhari's life was one of austere honor. He stood always ramrod straight, unharmed by the temptation of power, unsubdued by applause, and not afraid of the loneliness that often visits those who do what is right. Rather than what is popular was a quiet courage, a righteousness that never announced itself. His patriotism was lived more in action than in words.
President Tinubu also illuminates the consistency in the life, time, and character of late Buhari.
President Buhari was not a perfect man, nor in that least, but he was, in every sense of the word, a good man, a decent man, an honorable man. His record will be debated as all witnesses are, but the character he brought to public life, the moral code he carried, the incorruptible standard he presented will not be forgotten. It was a life lived in full service to Nigeria and in fidelity to God.
Other leaders and members of the cabinet also had their times to account the respective sides they saw in the man Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes, and bringing civilians are lasting gifts to the generations yet to unfold.
A man whose life was woven into the fabric of our nation. A soldier, a patriot, a statesman, and above all, a devoted servant of the Nigerian people.
And then an appreciation from the Buhari's family.
It has shown that he was regarded far more than a politician, but regarded as a friend and a father. To all members of the Federal Executive Council, for the care and befitting state burial accorded to our late father, we appreciate you all.
The former head of state was the second Nigerian who ruled twice with his second reign as a democratic leader between May 29, 2015 and May 29, 2023. President Muhammadu Buhari, who died at 82 in London, was laid to rest this Tuesday in his hometown of Daura. From the State House, Muspa Wahab, NC News.
Meanwhile, a third-day Fidel prayer for former President Muhammadu Buhari was held in Daura. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that Vice President Kashim Shettima led the federal government delegation joined by former Benin Republic President Thomas Boniai, former Nigerian Vice President Muhammad Namadi Sambo, among other dignitaries.
It is the third day after the burial rites of former President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura, and this gathering is to further pray for the repose of his soul.
You, even after you leave this place, to continue to pray. Remember in our supplications, as we are being reminded by the ulamas, so that the soul of our former president be accepted in Jannah.
Bringing together religious leaders and members of the Federal Executive Council in honor of the late Muhammadu Buhari.
We thank you, we thank Mr. President, and to the entire people across the world who have sent their condolences to the people of Katsina State, to the entire family of the late President Muhammad Buhari. I stand here on behalf of the family, the good people of Katsina State, to thank all of you.
In Mukaddimah, Ibn Khaldun reminds us that the goal of civilization is the attainment of justice. Justice is the bond that bonds human society together. It was justice, as he understood it, that President Buhari pursued. Often in solitude, often misunderstood, but always with sincerity. History shall dissect his traces, all his silences, but it shall never deny his commitment. He was not a man given to fear, but to death. Not to flamboyance, but to fortitude. This was a life of deliberate restraint.
President Bola Tinubu has, during the burial of the late former president, directed the vice president to not only bring the body of the former president back home from London, where he died, but also stay back and oversee the peaceful conclusion of the burial rites. From Daura, Katsina State, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
In the the meantime, the government of Zimbabwe has described the late former president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, as one of the African leaders who stood firmly with the people of Zimbabwe during their struggle for independence. The acting president of the country, Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, stated this during a condolence visit to the Nigerian embassy in Harare. Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, who is the vice president of Zimbabwe, pointed out that the late Nigerian former president was a forthright and upright leader that led the country with courage. He noted that the late Nigerian leader will be remembered for his anti-corruption stance and pro-Africanism. Dr. Constantino Chiwenga commiserated with the government and the people of Nigeria for the huge loss. Responding, the Nigerian ambassador to Zimbabwe, Lazarus Basaba, thanked the government of Zimbabwe for standing with Nigeria in her moment of grief. The Minister of Education, Maruf Olatunji Alausa, on behalf of the Federal Minister of Education and the Nigerian education sector, extends profound appreciation to President Bola Tinubu on decision to immortalize late President Muhammadu Buhari through the renaming of the University of Maiduguri, Borno State, as Muhammadu Buhari University of Maiduguri. In a statement, the minister acknowledges that President Buhari's administration from 2015 to 2023 was marked by notable reforms in national security, anti-corruption, infrastructure, agriculture, and human capital development, including the Anchor Borrowers Program and social investment schemes, which significantly contributed to national progress. The Ministry of Education is deeply honored that the sector has been chosen as the channel through which the late president's legacy will be permanently enshrined. Dr. Alausa notes, President Tinubu's decision reflects not only deep empathy and respect, but also a firm belief in education as the bedrock of national development. His commitment to human capital development is unwavering and consistent with the path of national renewal that President Buhari championed. In other news, population experts are calling for stronger use of demographic data in national planning and decision-making, while including a comprehensive sexuality education and greater investment in young people to tackle the country's reproductive health challenges. These concerns were raised during a media engagement in Abuja as the National Population Commission commences activities to commemorate the 2025 National World Population Day in Nigeria. Oluseyi Adeagbo reports.
With the 2025 World Population Day themed Empowering Young People to Create the Families in a Fair and Hopeful World, this year's celebration highlights the global call for a resilient world that respects individual rights and reproductive choices. In Nigeria, the observance resonates deeply as stakeholders advocate for improved population management strategies, especially in the light of the country's over 130 million young people, a demography seen as both a challenge and a powerful opportunity to achieve the demographic dividend.
We must create an environment where young people are supported, not intimidated for their fertility decisions. Let us ensure that we listen to what the young people of Nigeria really want and need.
Collaborative advocacy action plan, in that we emphasize the importance of each civil society, even though a lot of us are doing advocacies in different areas, that it will be nice for us to be a bit more collaborative and then also cooperative in the work that we do, so that we can help better outcomes.
The MPC chairman, Nasiru Isakwara, emphasized that the federal government is working on a national program designed to improve the use of population data in policy making and development planning.
Most government agencies, private sector, don't utilize data that is generated. There's no use investing so much money generating data and we don't utilize it properly. And the Commission plans to engage with policymakers to make sure the data we generate is in consonance with what they desire for the purpose of planning for the rapid development of this country.
These population experts unanimously agree that to unlock long-term prosperity, Nigerians must make strategic investments in reproductive health, education, and economic opportunities for young people. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. More reports after this break. Stay with us.
The Baffy Furniture Shopping Festival is here. From June 15th to August 15th, enjoy 20%, 30%, up to 50% off on most products. Explore 2025 exclusive collections at discounted prices, plus wedding packages with a free TV stand gift. Plus, free delivery and installation in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, and Enugu. Customize your favorite sets in your preferred color and fabric, from kid-friendly options to our luxurious smart beds. Don't miss out. Shop now at Baffy Furniture.
Thank you for staying with us on the news at 10 on NTA News 24. The federal government says it remains committed to strengthening Nigeria's health workforce through strategic public and private partnerships, as the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare signs a tripartite memorandum of understanding with the Federal Medical Center (OWO) under Achievers University (OWO) Ondo State. Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare Isiaka Dekunle Salako says the MOU will allow some selected institutions to utilize facilities at FMCO for the clinical training of medical and allied health students, which also has renewal, which also aligns with the renewed health agenda, which prioritizes collaboration between the public and private sectors to bridge the critical shortage of health workforce in the country.
Creating more avenue to train more. Not only are we able to retain some of them, but we can actually tweak the immigration of health workers to business concept.
And capacities are being built among the health workers in those hospitals. Presently, we have people from Gambia, Cameroon, who are training our staff on how to build capacities in carrying out research to develop vaccines.
Hope should not be lost about Nigerian moving forward. By the time we have 1, 2, 3 dotting the landscape, we can move forward.
Still on health, accessing healthcare, education, bank services, and even owning a SIM card in Nigeria now largely depends on one number, the National Identification Number. But for many Nigerians, especially in the FCT, getting that number or correcting simple errors has become a frustrating and time-consuming ordeal. In this special report, Victor Azu brings us the voices behind the delays and a response from the National Identity Management Commission.
A It's just past 10 a.m., but the crowd at the NIMSI office in Abuja is already swelling. Inside, the waiting rooms are packed. Outside, people line the corridors, everyone hoping the day will be different.
30 minutes.
Among them is Mercy Van Wyk, a Nigerian visiting from the Netherlands. Her passport is expired, but she can't renew it, at least not without a valid name. 3 weeks later, she's still here, waiting.
On Wednesday, I did the capture, actually. So when I did it, it didn't register, so I had to come on Monday here. So I came here on Monday to do the capturing, which they did. So today I came here to do the printout. It's showing error. Now I can't even get the printout, and I've overstayed here. I was meant to spend only 1 month here, but now I spent 1 month and 3 weeks, actually. And it's costing me as well.
She is not alone. Story after story of mismatched data, missing records, failed attempts paint a troubling picture. The challenges are not just stressful, they are costly. In today's Nigeria, without your NIN, almost everything stands still.
I lost my phone. I went for DICE to do welcome back. They told me NIN had network issues. So I've been coming. This is my 4th time. So up to now, nothing has been done. So I've been out of communication.
Right now, at this point, I can't apply for any job, nothing. I can't do nothing unless my NIN is active.
Inside, the staff try to manage the crowd, answer questions, and fix glitches. But the problems go deeper.
Recently, we've done expansion of our system so that it will be able to accommodate more numbers of Nigerians, and we are going to ensure that everybody is attended to. That is why we are here, and that's what we are doing.
Experts say it's not just about equipment. What's needed is more funding, better coordination, and the political will to treat identity services as a core part of national development. For a system built to include everyone, far too many are still stuck outside. The number exists, but for thousands, the real issue is getting it to work where it matters most. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Elsewhere, Nigeria can strategically prepare for her workforce in a competitive, rapidly evolving global economy for the future by recognizing the growing impact of automation, artificial intelligence, and other advanced technologies that are reshaping industries. Elizabeth Omori reports that this was the position of experts in key sectors of the economy at a forum on Nigeria Works 2030 to empower the youth.
Technology has significantly transformed various traditional forms of work across many sectors. For example, the traditional typist is now a virtual assistant, and smart farms are now promoting food availability. As technologies take charge, traditional job roles are being disrupted. And the question is Nigeria prepared to adapt to this global demand? One of the reasons they've gathered to analyze Nigeria's workforce vision.
If we put our heads together and we put our hearts and our hands behind it, definitely by the year 2030, we will be able to take a good number of the Nigerian workforce, into the future of work.
There has to be a marriage between automation and personnel. So we need to know, we need to get our civil servants, we need to get our public servants the ability to effectively use the internet.
The integration of AI into the workforce presents several challenges, such as job displacement, ethical concerns, and data privacy.
Begin to prepare our young graduates right from when they get into the university on how prepared they are for the workforce. So you begin to adapt the use of collaborative tools in the classroom.
To thrive in this new era, they insist Nigeria must invest in transforming its training systems, raise awareness, create wealth to drive the economy, and upscale the workforce. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has reminded foreign investors in the solid minerals sector that Nigeria is not looking for charity and will only accept investments that bring sustainable income and development to the country. This was at the Ministerial Roundtable meeting of the 4th African Natural Resources and Energy Investment Summit in Abuja. Ekene Ndulue reports.
If Africa is so endowed, why are we where we are?
Finding answers to this question is the reason for this meeting with ministers and mining executives from across the continent. Statistics show that embedded in African soil is a great amount of natural resources unparalleled by any other place in the world. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development says it is time to change the narrative for the better.
But we welcome development partners, partners that will transact business with us on an equal exchange basis so that we can create a win-win situation for everybody. And like I said, we're not looking for charity.
The meeting agrees on changing the story of resource management in Africa from one of crisis and conflict to one of sustainable income and development.
Going forward, I agree, we must have a working group, we must have partners, we must have sense of ownership, and finally, we must tell our story.
We will correct what has been done, but we must do it now. We cannot wait.
The meeting closed with a call for strong regional cooperation that will protect the interests of the continent. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
Our second promo beckons at this point on the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Stay tuned for more news.
Let's have credible elections at the local government so that these credible people can manage the funds of local government properly.
There are a lot of respected traditional rulers in the state who can say, look, enough of this thing. Mr. Governor, welcome. Thank you for coming. When you win, what will you do?
I was the first woman that mobilized women within the local government to form the National Council of Women Society, by creating awareness in women that they must serve, they must be part of what is happening within their community.
If you stop expenditure on infrastructure, how do you now attract investments?
The state governors, the presidency, that the federal government and the local government are all waiting for revenue from crude oil.
Every state has something peculiar. So the emphasis now, if your local government has something peculiar to that particular local government, the emphasis should be keep producing that particular product.
We need to do three things. Prevent the ability of the terrorist groups to generate funding, their ability to recruit, and then their ability to access weapons.
The traditional ruler gives me a title. I sit in the front row in the church, or if I'm going to mosque and I'm calling the people are passing in God's own house. What am I doing? I'm mentoring a new generation who think that the only way to be taken seriously is to be seen to have a lot of money.
Good Morning Nigeria, live every weekday between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. on the network service of the NTA.
Welcome back. And talking energy now, the national grid is set to be relatively stable, and the Nigerian Independent System Operator, NISO, says it is strengthening its operation to sustain the gain. At a stakeholders engagement convened by NISO with industry players on the future of the grid and its stability, stakeholders are optimistic that with the ongoing reforms and investments in the power sector by the federal government, Nigeria will achieve 8,000 megawatts of electricity generation and distribution in the next 1 year. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission and other industry players stress the need for compliance to market rules by their participants, while urging NISO to sanction defaulting players in the sector.
We are responsible for real-time grid operations,
long-term system planning, and the coordination and development of the electricity market.
Government has awarded new contracts for the SCADA system, covering the entire nation. Work is in progress all over across the nodal points in the system. Every day, progress is being made. We expect that by the end of next year, we should have this SCADA ready.
Federal government of Nigeria has taken about $500 million from the World Bank in loan to finance upgrade of distribution infrastructure network. Within that scope, we're going to provide 3.2 million meters for Nigeria, and of course, with the presidential metering initiative as well, which provides another 2 to 3 million meters. That's about 7 million meters in total. So we expect to see significant improvement in terms of electricity access for all Nigerians.
Let's shift attention to security now. The armed forces of Nigeria, in collaboration with other security agencies, will continue to deploy strategies to effectively combat the contemporary threats facing the country with a view to restoring peace to all affected areas. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kange, affirmed this at the periodic update of ongoing armed forces operations in the country. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports.
Troops of Operation Delta Safe, under the period of review, deterred oil theft worth 291,326,400, with breakdown of 201,345 liters of stolen crude oil, 29,730 liters of illegally refined automotive gas oil, 1,751 liters of dual-purpose kerosene, while 42 arrests were made. Between 10th to 16th July 2025, troops of Operation Hardin K sustained actions to deny Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists freedom of action in the Northeast region, as the Joint Task Force Northeast made 11 arrests of terrorist logistics suppliers, rescued 7 kidnapped victims, and recovered a cache of ammunition. The Joint Task Force of Operation Fansanyama rescued 7 kidnapped victims and arrested 15 terrorists, while Joint Task Force Operation Safe Haven arrested 34 terrorists, rescued 8 kidnapped victims, and made significant recoveries.
We are constantly guided by our operational guidelines, Code of Conduct for Internal Security Operations, and laws of armed conflict. As the Nigerian military strategizes to conclude these operations, I urge the public to continue to cooperate with security agencies, remain vigilant, and report any suspicious activities to appropriate authority.
The Armed Forces of Nigeria says it remains resolute to discharging its constitutional duties with the highest level of professionalism. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
In a related development, Governor Caleb Mutfwang is urging security agencies in Plateau State to redouble efforts in ensuring the safety of rural communities. This was during his visit to the communities attacked by gunmen in Riom local government area of the state. Indiang Andiabagyang has details.
The governor, in company of top government officials, visited affected communities of Bakchid, Sub, Ranko, Fan, and Rim, where he commiserated with the people and reminded them that they are not alone in this grieving moment. Governor Mutfwang pleaded with the people not to take laws into their hands, saying there will be thorough investigation, and if there is any compromise on the side of stakeholders, it must be dealt with according to the law.
We will use every means at our disposal to make sure that this comes to an end. Amen. Please be patient.
Community leaders in the places visited narrated how the attacks were coordinated and appealed to the governor to assist them in any way he can.
They are falling houses. Some are going there with their machetes, some with gun, shooting people, some with carpet, spraying on the houses. When they shoot, then the fire just burns the house.
In Riom, Indenyan and Abajang, NTA News.
Let's take you to Kogi State, where the Kogi State government has dismissed reports alleging the unlawful detention of one Abdul Hamid, the flower boy, describing them as deliberate attempts to distort facts and incite public sentiment. In a press statement by the Commissioner for Information and Communications, Kingsley Femi Fanwo, the government stated that Abdul Hamid was lawfully invited by security agencies following a petition against a clearly defamatory publication authored by him against the state government. Fanwo emphasized that the suspect voluntarily honored the police invitation, confessed to authoring the false publication, and was subsequently arraigned before a competent court of jurisdiction, which ordered his remand. He stressed that, contrary to claims on social media, Abdul Hamid is not being detained illegally, but is facing prosecution in line with Nigeria's laws of defamation. The government accused unnamed political actors of sponsoring misinformation in a bid to undermine the administration of Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo, whom it said has earned the people's trust through massive investments in infrastructure, education, healthcare, agriculture, power, and civil service welfare. The commissioner drew comparisons with a previous case involving political activist Austin Okai, who was forgiven only after publicly apologizing for similar actions. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, has directed for immediate closure of the affected portion of the flyover on the Abuja-Kefi Highway. This was while reacting to the incident that happened in the early hours of Thursday that resulted in the dislocation of the flyover beam. At a press briefing in Abuja, Minister Umahi expressed displeasure over reckless attitudes of heavy-duty truck drivers who violate truck rules by carrying loads that undermine the 5.6 standardized headrooms of flyovers. He directed relevant authorities of the ministry to urgently evaluate the state of the bridges ahead of possible repairs.
Carriageway where the beam was knocked off, and it has to be immediately done, because it's the beam that is carrying the slab, and it's the slab that is carrying the vehicular, traffic. So it's very important that, we close the carriageway if that is the only, portion that is being affected by this very unfortunate situation.
The minister also expressed concerns over the same issues being experienced on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and explained efforts being put in place for reconstruction of the affected bridges.
High-tech and other contractors who are recently constructing bridges. And we have said, look, the minimum requirement for flyovers has to be 6.5 meters headroom. And we're also going to put a kind of gateway, heavy metal, gateway front and back, so that if a vehicle is coming, let the vehicle that is overburdened, had to contend with that, metal iron first.
The minister said some of the traffic laws and road use violators have been apprehended and charged to court. Elsewhere, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has extended the continuous voters registration exercise in Anambra State ahead of the November 8 governorship election exercise to Sunday, July 20. A statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Sam Olomiku, urges eligible voters to take advantage of the extension, as there will be no further consideration on this. At the end of the exercise on Sunday, the Commission will display the register for claims and objections. Meanwhile, INEC has received 5 more letters of intent from associations seeking registration as political parties This brings the number received so far to 134. The National Summit of the Future of Nigeria's Constitutional Democracy has ended in Abuja with far-reaching resolutions on the need for true federalism. Timothy Yusuf reports that actualizing constitutional democracy that works for all in Nigeria is the theme of the summit.
To the point I was thinking of giving.
Which opened in Abuja this Wednesday was convened by the eminent patriots in collaboration with the Nigerian Political Summit Group, led by former Commonwealth Secretary General Chief Emeka Anyaoku and co-chaired by Senators Gbenga Daniel and Aminu Waziri Tambuwal. It seeks to replace the existing 1999 constitution with a new and people-driven framework that reflects Nigeria's diversity, aspirations and federal character. After turn-by-turn presentations on the diversity of various geopolitical zones, the time for adoption of resolutions came but went into disagreement. Leader of the summit, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, thereafter called for a break to restore decorum.
We tend to take 2 steps at a time, believe me, we will be shut down. No. That's my position.
This summit would have been wasted if we do not put forward our proposal for a better re-engineered Nigeria.
This summit should conclude on a very positive note.
Upon resumption, adoption of proposals resumed.
The summit calls for an immediate constitutional framework that will return Nigeria to a truly federal system of government where the federating units will enjoy their autonomy as obtained in the First Republic and other genuine democracies of the world.
Why are we agreeing on a constitution? So that every group of people within the nation should feel safe, feel, protected, preserved, within the country. So what you are seeing in this hall now is that we are debating the resolutions of the conference. We expected it to be very rancorous because those resolutions, every group is going to say, no, we didn't agree, no, this is what we want. That is the part of the dialogue that leads to democratic agreements.
The draft legislative bill for a new constitution of Nigeria is expected to be presented to the Presidency and National Assembly. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Here is a recap of our major stories. President Bola Tinubu immortalizes former President Muhammadu Buhari, renames University of Maiduguri after him.
The incorruptible standard he presented will not be forgotten.
Stakeholders optimistic ongoing reforms and investments in power sector would achieve 8,000 megawatts of electricity generation and distribution in the next 1 year. Federal government strengthening Nigeria's health workforce through strategic public and private partnerships.
Are leaving the country in droves, and if we are able to create more avenue to trade more.
Minister of Works directs immediate closure of portion of Abuja-Kefi flyover due to dislocation.
This is NTA News 24.
Political inclusion is a fundamental right, and the active participation of persons with disabilities in the democratic process is essential. In Nigeria, persons with disabilities represent a significant portion of the population, yet They often face systemic barriers that hinder their full participation in the electoral process. Ngufang Shaji Gwai reports that TAF Africa's Political Inclusion Index tool examines the level of disability inclusion by INEC, political parties, media, and security institutions for roles they play in the electioneering process.
The conversation here centers on political inclusion for persons with disabilities.
Our interest is in you making sure that persons with disability takes their leadership role within the political party.
The political index tool by TAF Africa is being assessed by key political and disability stakeholders to ensure compliance with Nigeria's Electoral Act and other provisions of inclusive practices and policies.
The participation, active participation of people with disability in the highest level of policy making in the country is an essential step that needs to be taken.
The Political Party Inclusion Index is a valuable tool that will help us track progress, identify gaps, and deepen accountability across party structures.
The findings also indicate that INEC and other key institutions have made significant improvements. However, gaps remain in ensuring electoral accessibility. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji Ugwaini, NTA News.
Now, for years, the sight of Almajiri children begging on the streets has been a disturbing reality in northern Nigeria. But in Jigawa State, Governor Umar Namadi is rewriting that narrative with a bold and innovative approach. Muhammad Musa Askira reports that this will be done through provision of a modern Sangaya integrated schools designed to give these children both Islamic and Western education under one roof.
The age-long Almajiri menace in northern Nigeria may soon be history in Jigawa State. Governor Umar Namadi has embarked on the construction of modern Sangha integrated schools designed to keep Almajiri children off the streets. The schools, spread across several local government areas, will offer both Islamic and Western education with classrooms, libraries, hostels, clinics, and other modern facilities to make learning comfortable.
His Excellency now tried to transform the Nigeria education system by introducing a skills acquisition center in that school. In that school acquisition center, we have 8 number of workshops. We have the the carpentry, we have the plumbing, we have the issue of electronics, we have the issue of tiling, so many skills and entrepreneurship.
The first phase, now nearing completion, is expected to transform street children into educated and productive citizens, paving the way for a greater and self-reliant Jigawa State in the nearest future. From Duty, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
In response to the prediction by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency NIMET and the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency NISA on imminent flood alert in 24 states, including the FCT, between July and November 2025, the National Orientation Agency NOA has commenced a sensitization campaign in the FCT. Kenneth Nanim reports that Paikon Kore in Gwagwalada Council area of the FCT is the first port of call.
Paikon Kore is one of the flood-prone areas amongst the communities in the Gwagwalada Council area of the FCT. The settlement pattern alone is enough to predict the impact flooding could have on the area, as there are no drainage systems nor hydro sources outlet facilities in their building plan. To enlighten the residents on the necessary steps to take in order to mitigate flood impact is the reason for this program at the instance of the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
There should be gutters, and where gutters are created, they should make sure that nothing blocks the waterways. It's important. They should be able to get necessary items or food source and so on. When there's flood, definitely it will block everywhere. They may not be going out and coming in.
It was an interactive section, and the message is also being delivered using indigenous language for easy communication.
Whenever there's flooding, you stay put. Don't cross. Then in the houses, you lift things up. And when you get alerts, please move to a higher ground.
This is done to promote early action by various governments, stakeholders, and citizens, and all users.
For NISA is eager to work closely with the NOAA and other stakeholders to enhance flood awareness at all levels.
We're having serious gully erosion. If not that there's no serious rain this year, I think that area is in danger.
Meanwhile, the SU Dugoro of the area and some other district heads acknowledge the messages with the assurance that their subjects will adhere. Kenneth Nanan, NTA News.
Let's now join the sports desk for updates in the sporting world.
Nigeria's Flying Eagles will face Niger Republic in the semi-finals of the 2025 WAFL B Under-20 tournament in Ghana. The pairing was confirmed after the conclusion of the final matches in Group B on Thursday. To reach the semi-finals, Niger Republic held Burkina Faso to a goalless draw to finish second on 4 points. Côte d'Ivoire finished top in Group B after victories over Niger Republic, Burkina Faso and Togo. The Ivorians will now face hosts Ghana in the last 4 stage. On their part, the Flying Eagles reached the semi-finals thanks to a comfortable 4-1 win against Benin Republic in their second Group A fixture. Meanwhile, Nigeria and Zambia are set to lock horns in a high-stakes quarter-final at the WAFCON 2024 with legacy, pride and a place in the Final Four on the line. Both sides arrive in the last 8 unbeaten, with the Super Falcons topping Group B with 7 points after 2 wins and a draw, with no goals conceded. Zambia, who conceded 4 goals en route to the quarter-finals, finished with the same points but second behind group leaders Morocco on goals difference. The Super Falcons are gunning for an historic 10th title, while Zambia are looking to improve their third-place finish from 2022 following their 1-0 victory over the Super Falcons.
And that concludes the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Thanks so much for watching. I am Nolin Ebel Ame. See you at the top of the hour for the news update.
Driven, people focused.